Meghan Markle is the flea in the ointment who continues to ruin the increasingly rancid relationship between Prince Harry and the British royal.
Meghan Markle's carefully polished image has always been sold as flawless. The self-made actress, the feminist icon, the modern duchess who rewrote the rules. But what if that entire timeline hides a chapter so explosive it could bring the whole story crashing down? Whispers tied to the Giuliano family suggest a sealed teenage marriage, a missing year in her biography, and even the shocking possibility that Meghan isn't just a mother at 43, but secretly a grandmother. If true, this isn't just another royal scandal. It's a revelation that rewrites her past forever.
Even talk to the distant Duke and never will, while the difficult Duchess carries on calling the shots, which in that weird one-sided.
For years, Meghan has presented a timeline polished to perfection. The Hollywood dreamer who worked her way from modest beginnings to global recognition. On paper, it looks seamless, but behind the glossy interviews and staged magazine spreads lies a biography with cracks no one wants to talk about. The missing pieces aren't random, they're deliberate gaps. And when you zoom in, the most glaring hole is a single year after high school, a chapter that refuses to line up with the story she's told the world.
All subjects won't have it either. Who says so? Veteran editor of Majesty magazine, Ingrid Seward, who has been closer to the royal.
In 1994, Meghan graduated from Immaculate Heart High School and later enrolled at Northwestern University. But in between, she described taking a gap year filled with travel and discovery. Sounds harmless, right? Except there are no records, no airline tickets, no exchange programs, no friends who remember trips abroad. It's as if that entire year vanished. Instead of photos or stories, all that exists is silence. 12 months erased from her history, perfectly matching the timeline of the whispers that refused to die.
Who raised her and the down-to-earth people she grew up with, her half-brother Thomas Markle Jr. and half-sister Samantha. Meanwhile, the Duchess adopts her practiced actress smile, puts on a dazzling display of unbridled joy, and
that silence leads straight to Las Vegas, where whispers point to a tiny chapel just off the main strip. No cameras, no headlines, only a handful of witnesses. The groom, a man named Joe Giuliano, whose name has hovered in Meghan's shadow for decades. Insiders claim her half-siblings, Thomas Jr. and Samantha, knew exactly what happened that summer. A short ceremony, a teenage smile masking nerves, and vows exchanged in secret. If true, it wasn't a fairy tale wedding. It was a chapter she fought to erase.
Look deal worth next to nothing can their Montecito Majesties even afford the luxury lifestyle to which they've become accustomed. As Meghan hogs the limelight in a swirling mass of theatrical non-stop activity, her hapless husband cuts a...
Before we go further, don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you don't miss the stories others are too afraid to cover. Now, this is where things get stranger. That secret Vegas marriage didn't last. Within months, it was annulled, erased almost as quickly as it began. But here's the twist. The record wasn't just closed, it was sealed. Simple teenage mistakes don't usually get buried in locked files. Which raises the question, what was so dangerous about this union that it had to vanish completely?
As to whether Harry and Meghan, minus their Netflix income, can even pay the astronomical bills for the upkeep of their massive Montecito mansion. Cynics suggest that's the reason old Gingernuts wants to reopen the lines of communication with his...
The Giuliano family has never gone public, never spoken on camera, but insiders say they know exactly what happened in that chapel in 1994. Their silence only fuels suspicion. If this was just a teenage fling, why has Meghan erased every trace of it? Why has she never once addressed the name Joe Giuliano, even when it resurfaces in whispers and rumors? Critics argue that her silence is the loudest admission of all, because erasing a mistake is one thing, but erasing a person entirely is another. Every photograph, every record, even casual mentions, gone. It feels deliberate, almost calculated, like a chapter torn from a book before anyone could read it. That kind of control doesn't come easy, and it certainly doesn't come cheap, which is why some royal watchers believe this is less about embarrassment and more about protecting a secret too big to survive daylight.
With his brother and the king, Sorry, where's the apology, Harry? Before we can move forward, before you can get back into the fold and start asking for more money from your dad and from your family, you actually need to think about apologizing first for what hell you put them through the last couple of years.
Yeah, wasn't
Why go to such lengths to bury it?
That missing year lines up perfectly with the whispers of a pregnancy. The story goes that shortly after the secret Vegas wedding, Meghan found herself facing a reality that couldn't fit her carefully curated future. Instead of a carefree year of travel, she may have been carrying a child, one that would never appear in her official biography. Critics point out how the silence surrounding that 12-month gap mirrors the timeline almost too neatly to be coincidence. And if that child was quietly raised elsewhere, then the rumors gain shocking weight. Meghan, at just 43, could already be a grandmother. For a woman who has spent years crafting the image of a modern mother and trailblazing duchess, the revelation of a hidden generation would be devastating. It wouldn't just complicate her story, it would obliterate the very narrative she's built her public identity on.
Wants privacy. It's such an intimate video to share with the world. But in case you missed it, Meghan Markle is back drawing attention to this video that she posted. She appeared as a guest on the Aspire with Emma Grede podcast, where she said the video is really a great reminder of how authentic she is.
The idea of Meghan already being a grandmother at 43 is almost unthinkable, yet it's the rumor that refuses to die. For her critics, it represents the ultimate undoing of her brand, the modern Duchess who champions women's empowerment suddenly exposed as someone hiding an entire family tree. For her supporters, it sounds like a smear too wild to believe, but the timeline remains stubbornly suspicious. That gap year, the sealed annulment, the silence from the Giuliano family, when combined, they paint a picture that's difficult to ignore. And imagine the fallout if it ever came to light. Overnight, Meghan's carefully polished image would collapse, leaving Harry caught in the middle of a storm unlike anything he's endured before. Because this isn't just about scandal, it's about rewriting her entire life story, and the consequences would be nothing short of catastrophic.
There is so much to unpack about what she just said. A really great reminder about, how real their life is. She needs to stop banging on about how authentic she is. She just seems to me to be so desperate to be trying to cling on to this brand that she's real, she's authentic. But of all my friends.
But the rumors don't stop at hidden family ties. They also connect to Meghan and Harry's increasingly fragile lifestyle in Montecito. Their mansion costs millions to maintain, and critics suggest that without steady Netflix money, their finances are stretched thinner than ever. That's why some royal insiders claim Harry has been reaching out to his family again, hoping to secure financial stability. Now imagine if whispers of a hidden marriage and child were ever confirmed. What would that mean for their already shaky reputation? It wouldn't just be personal, it would strike at the core of their public image, their marketability, and their ability to survive as global figures. Because in a world built on brand and perception, a single revelation could undo everything. And here's where I want to hear from you. If this secret ever came out, would the public forgive Meghan, or would it mark the end of her carefully crafted empire?
This brand that she's real, she's authentic. But of all my friends who are mothers, I don't know anyone that has shared a video like that in a hospital room, twerking around. It was absolutely ridiculous and not that relatable.
Not that relatable, to be honest. I mean, that sort of video belongs in a...
If there's one person who would be hit hardest by this revelation, it's Prince Harry. Already humiliated by endless scandals, lawsuits, and strained family ties, the thought of his wife carrying a secret this explosive would cut deeper than any tabloid headline. For years, he stood by Meghan, defending her against criticism and distancing himself from the royals who raised him. But imagine how devastating it would be to discover that even he might not know the full truth about her past. Would Harry, who has already sacrificed so much, be able to handle a scandal of this magnitude? Or would it finally drive a wedge between them, confirming what skeptics have said all along, that Meghan calls the shots while Harry is left to pick up the pieces? The silence he maintains, the expressions caught by photographers, and the awkward public moments all begin to look different when viewed through this lens. For Harry, this isn't just another rumor. It could be the final humiliation in a life defined by them.
Ridiculous and not that relatable.
Not that relatable, to be honest. I mean, that sort of video belongs in a WhatsApp mothers group, really, or maybe something you might share privately. So it completely contradicts her claim of, the sort of desperate need for privacy and protecting everyone within the family unit. And she does do a good job generally with protecting.
What's most intriguing is how little mainstream coverage this story receives. Royal biographers, journalists, and glossy magazines dissect every detail of Meghan's outfits, speeches, and public appearances. But when it comes to the missing year, the sealed records, and the Giuliano connection, there's near total silence. Some chalk this up to lack of evidence, but others believe it reflects a deeper level of control. Meghan, after all, has long been skilled at shaping narratives. From carefully curated interviews to choreographed public appearances, she knows how to dominate headlines while keeping inconvenient details buried. Even veteran royal watchers, like Ingrid Seward, have pointed out the gaps, yet the press rarely pushes further. Why? Is it because they fear legal repercussions, or because powerful interests have worked hard to suppress this chapter? Whatever the reason, the absence of media scrutiny makes the whispers louder. Because in the court of public opinion, silence doesn't erase suspicion, it multiplies it.
Generally with protecting the identities of the children, I feel, but you can't on one hand say I want privacy, on the other hand put out a deeply personal video. I mean, I'm not surprised in the fact that in a way that she didn't produce a video of her actually giving birth. And that's probably the next step.
Is that the next one?
Maybe that is the next
Brace
step.
yourself.
And the sort of viral quality of it,
Public suspicion has only grown stronger because Meghan herself has never addressed these whispers. Not once. In any interview has she even hinted at the missing year or the name Joe Giuliano. And that silence feels deliberate, because if it were truly nothing more than a teenage fling or a short-lived mistake, most people would shrug it off. Annulments happen all the time, but to erase every trace, to ensure no casual mentions, no photographs, no official documents surface, that takes effort. And when something is hidden with that much intensity, the natural question becomes, what is so damaging about it that it can't be acknowledged? To critics, this is the clearest sign that the story holds truth. To her supporters, it's proof that Meghan refuses to feed gossip. But either way, her silence has backfired. Instead of closing the door on speculation, it has fueled it, turning whispers into a wildfire that continues to burn louder with every passing year.
The next
Is that the next one?
Maybe that is the next
Brace
step.
yourself.
And the sort of viral quality of it, she's obviously thrilled to bits and thinking, well, any publicity is good publicity, so let's just rehash it and reinforce the fact that I released this video and made my daughter's 4th birthday about me again, in order to,
And then there's Clark County, Nevada, the place where these alleged records should exist. Normally, annulments are public. They sit in dusty files, accessible to anyone willing to search. But Meghan's supposed annulment immediately sealed. Officials have repeatedly refused to confirm or deny its existence, brushing off inquiries with vague statements. That secrecy raises eyebrows. Why would a simple teenage marriage be locked away like a state secret? If there's nothing to hide, then openness should put the rumors to rest. Instead, the refusal to disclose only adds fuel to the fire. Critics argue that sealing those files suggests a motive, something significant enough to protect even decades later. Supporters counter that sealed records are not uncommon, yet the timing, the missing year, and the Giuliano connection all combine to make this silence look less like a bureaucratic decision and more like a calculated cover-up. And every unanswered question leaves one conclusion: the truth may be stranger than the rumor itself.
authentic and real, and this is what happens in real life.
Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. And then for, Meghan Markle's the one who brings it up. She just really wants, she wasn't asked about it.
No,
she just wants the world to know, in case anyone missed that video, that it is out there, unfortunately, for everyone to watch.
And made my daughter's 4th birthday about me again, in order to, say that I'm authentic and real, and this is what happens in real life.
Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. And then for, Meghan Markle's the one who brings it up. She just really wants, she wasn't asked about it. She just wants the world to know, in case anyone missed that video.
At the end of the day, Meghan Markle's missing year remains the most mysterious gap in her life story. Was it truly just a carefree season of travel and discovery? Or was it the year that holds the key to a secret she never wanted revealed? The sealed records, the Giuliano whispers, and the silence from Meghan herself all combine to form a puzzle that refuses to fade. And in the world of royalty and celebrity, perception often matters more than proof. For Harry, the stakes couldn't be higher. Another scandal could be the final blow to both his reputation and his fragile standing with the public. For Meghan, even a shred of truth in these rumors would redefine everything she's worked to build. But until undeniable evidence surfaces, is, this mystery will continue to haunt every conversation about her past. So what do you think? Will the truth about Meghan's missing year ever be exposed? Or will it remain a secret locked away forever? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next twist in this ongoing royal saga.